Hello, and welcome back to Business Happy Hour. I have to start off this episode with apologizing because that audio, I was talking to one of my clients and she was like, "Yeah, that audio was interesting of the last episode." Guys, we take messy action here. And I said to her, I was like, honestly, I know it wasn't great, but I did what I could with the situation that I had. And I personally would have rather gotten an episode out than made the excuse of, oh, I can't get it out this week. I'm going to be in Utah. Right now, I absolutely could have batch recorded before. And I think I talked about in the episode how I fully just slipped my mind. And that's okay because we're human and that happens. So, I apologize for that audio. Hopefully, it wasn't too terrible. I will promise you that now we will be having our good, typical day in the life, not day in the life, day in the office audio because I don't plan to record outside of the office at this point in time or in the near future. So, thank you for bearing with me. We are back in action. Utah was amazing and I miss it so much already, but today in Philly, it is so nice out. Like, what's the temp? I think the temp is like 72 degrees, which I'm so hyped for. And after I record this, I am going to go for a nice little walk and answer my Slack messages that way because honestly, some of my best Slack messages happen when I am on a walk or on my walking pad because my brain's just flowing. So here we are. Now, word on the street is that you guys want more consistency and more consistent inquiries in your business. You want more consistency in the amount of clients you're getting, in your profit, in your revenue, in your cash. Who doesn't want more consistent and more cash, right? All the things. So today we're going to break that down. We're going to break down what does it look like to have a consistent business? How do you get there? How long does it take to get there? What are the best practices? Now, before I share a little bit of my story with you and my history with the word consistency and with consistency in my nutrition business and in this business, I am so excited because I am actually going to be doing an entire masterclass on this. So I'm going to be breaking it down for you and I'm going to teach you how I actually increased my inquiries and my income year over year in the 3x Your Inquiries Masterclass. Okay. And I'm so excited because I'm going to be teaching you a brand new framework that I have not taught anywhere to anyone. It is brand new, brand new. And it's called the Frequency Framework. It is so fucking fire, guys. You're going to be obsessed. I'm so excited. If you're listening to this on the day or a few days after this episode airs in March, if you join us anytime before March 19th, you get the pre-sale price of $37. And y'all, I can guarantee you that you're going to get a hell lot more than $37 out of this if you're able to actually implement what we chat about. Okay. Because like the frequency of applications and consistency is liberating. As someone who has struggled severely with anxiety and panic attacks and panic disorder and all of the things, I need stability. I really value stability. I am not like, yes, I am a risk taker per se. I'm not someone who's necessarily risk adverse. However, I still value stability. Like I take certain risks in business and entrepreneurship because I know that the reward will eventually be there and it will create the stability, the freedom, the flexibility, and the ease that I want for my life. Right. So it all depends on what you value. And I really value those things. And I know that in order to get to those things, I need to make certain sacrifices. And And they worked because now stability is my freaking middle name. So, with all of that being said, how the heck did I get to consistent 10K months before the month even starts, right? That has been the biggest difference for me. I was literally on the brink of looking for jobs and being on Indeed. Y'all know how that goes before I cracked this code because genuinely, I could not deal with the volatility. I was like so defeated when I was like, oh my gosh, this month was great. And now next month's going to be terrible. And I need to, this constant hamster wheel of getting more clients, getting more clients, getting more clients. And the only way that you can get off the hamster wheel is by getting off the hamster wheel and learning a different strategy. Okay. So this is what I'm going to break down for you in the 3X. I don't even remember the name guys yet because I fully like, as I'm recording this, it is not ready yet. I know it's going to be inside yet. I know it's going to be inside, but I have not fully fleshed it out yet. So the 3X your inquiries, I wanted to call it the 3X framework, which maybe I should change the name. Who knows? The 3X your inquiries masterclass, where I'm going to teach you my frequency framework that allowed me to quite literally go from $0 a month to starting months with 5 figures without, like, I could sit pretty on those 5 figures without having to sell another thing that month. Okay. So let's dive into it. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, and I want to start with the very beginning of my journey. So when I was in my nutrition business, like full time, I hired my first coach in September of 2019, right before the pandemic. I call myself a pandemic baby because I grew my business in the pandemic. I just think it's funny. So I started my business. I hired my first coach in September of 2019. I did not like the inquiries were not flowing by any means. And this was my main desire. Like, I totally, totally know what you're saying. And I understand the feeling of being like, I just want consistency. Like, the money, I remember the exact feeling. And I remember literally saying this to myself, like, the amount of money that I would pay to just have consistent leads coming in and I can close them, right? I know most of you are the same way. It's like I can get them signed on once they reach out. But beforehand, I need them to come to me. I need them to get to me, right? So at the time, I would say I was getting, I don't know, maybe one, maybe two inquiries a month for the whole rest of that year. So all of 2019. And at the time, I was still in my dietetic internship. But I just want to validate, I know the feeling of being like, where are you at, people? Right. And the feeling of this is so easy. My life would be so easy if I could just get the leads, if I could just get the inquiries, if people would just reach out to me. And it was a very long time before I realized that one of my main jobs as a business owner was lead generation, was sales, was marketing. And at first I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And then slowly but surely, I really found a love for the business strategy, the marketing, the sales, which is why I'm here with you today. Okay. So I just want to kind of paint a picture for you because I feel like I know that when I was in this place in business, I just wanted like a trajectory. I'm like, what does it look like? Are my leads ever going to be consistent? How do I get them there? How long does it take? Like, give me some structure here, right? So for me, when I started in September, like I said, I maybe actually, no, that's a lie. I definitely didn't have at least 1 to 2 inquiries a month because from September to December of 2019, I didn't have anybody. I had one, maybe two clients. I think I signed 2 clients in those 4 September, October, November, December, those 4 months. Okay. So and I can't honestly, I wish I could remember, but I can't remember like how many discovery calls and what my close rate was at the time because I definitely wasn't closing as fast as I could now, where I close probably about 90% of my inquiries, and that's all through DM without even doing discovery calls, which is also a super fun conversation, which we should probably have. Uh, because if you find yourself spending a lot of time on discovery calls, it depends on the stage of business that you're in. They're definitely beneficial. But if that's something that you're looking to scale back on, we can absolutely have that conversation. Just shoot me a DM. Always happy to have combos. Okay. So I had about 2 clients in the first 4 months of my business. And I was like, I thought this was going to be a hell of a lot easier. Okay. Especially because I had spent a lot of time building an audience. Now, were they all like an ideal audience? Not particularly. Not particularly. But I had spent, so I started my Instagram in I don't remember what month it was, but it was my sophomore year of college. And so I graduated and then let me think. Gosh. It's like I wish I had just a video. I mean, I wouldn't have time to watch it, but a video of like every day of my life in the past. Because I'm like, what did I do that day? When did I do this? It's just wild to me. Life moves so freaking fast. Yeah, I started it in sophomore year, and basically I started it. If you've listened to my beginning episodes, I think I break this down of how I started my Instagram from a place of it being kind of like a food recovery diary journal situation where I started it in an effort of like half being like, I know I want to start a private practice one day, and half like, I want to stop. I was obsessively writing my food down at the time. And I was the person that literally I would lay my head down on the pillow and I'd be like, just recounting everything I ate that day. Was it good enough? Was it healthy enough? All the things, like very orthorexic tendencies. And I mean, I fully had orthorexia. But anyway, besides the point. So I started it and I was like, I know I want to start a private practice one day, but like I'm not a dietitian yet. I'm not really qualified to like do this, but like this seems like the best way to like step forward, right? Because I like felt like I wanted to like start my career. I was so excited. I'm like such an old soul. Like I low key hated college, guys. I really didn't like college. Like junior, senior year, I started to like come into my own and I was like, okay, I can enjoy this. Freshman, sophomore year, I was like, take me home, put me in a job. I want to make $1 million and I want to live in my beautiful custom home and like have the person that I'm going to marry and like go to yoga on Saturday mornings and then go to the farmer's market. Like I was not having the college lifestyle. I really wasn't. And then junior, senior year, I was like, all right, I need to embrace this. Let's like enjoy this. I had come out, not fully, but like come out of the real true anxiety of orthorexia, and I was just able to enjoy myself a little bit more. Anywho, not that you asked. I created that Instagram account. So that means that I was building that for about 2 years. Not that this is necessary by any means. But this is something that in Content Catalyst, I teach you the growth GNC method, growth, nourish, convert, and the G part, the growth part. If you are trying to sell to an audience that you didn't grow from the right place, right? So say, for example, you had a real estate business and you have all these leads, and then you suddenly shift that page from real estate to nutrition. Totally fine. No worries by any means. But there's going to be a period of time that you need to go through a growth phase to get more of those ideal clients that you're speaking to now. Now, some might stay, some might continue to like be really interested in what you talk about, but a majority of those people aren't going to be both your ideal client for real estate and your ideal client for nutrition, right? So you need that growth phase. So I was basically going through this growth phase for about 2 years before I put any sort of intuitive eating content out there. It was really more of like kind of like an influencer situation, which I laugh at now, but I was just really sharing my own nutrition, how I was meal prepping things for when I worked at WIC, like all of the things. And I was taking like little mini classes here and there of like how to optimize your Instagram and grow your Instagram and yada yada. And once I hired that coach, I was like, okay, I need to like really have an angle here. I started learning about niche and picking one and all the things. So I picked my niche. And let's fast forward to February 2020. So this is when I graduated my dietetic internship. So 5 months into my nutrition business, while I was commuting commuting to New York City 2 hours a day, pretty much. I grew up in Westchester, New York, and I took Metro North, if you're familiar with the area, to New York City every single day. And, it would take probably I'd say an hour and a half is a solid amount of time that I would say that it would take me to commute. So about 3 hours plus per day. And I built my business on Metro North pretty much. And so February 2020 comes around. And at this point, like I said, I had been building this business from like a very crazy standpoint, a very busy lifestyle. Um, and I was just building it on my commute basically. So February comes around and I graduated from my internship and I was like, all right, we got to increase these inquiries because your girl wants to move out. Uh, and I need an income, right? And for me, like I'm very headstrong when I have an idea in my head. Like it's gonna happen. I'm not gonna give up until it happens. And um, I had this idea in my head that I refused to get a part-time job, which I've talked about before. Like, was it the greatest thing ever building a business from a place of scarcity? No, but you can also argue that it like was the thing that lit a fire under my ass that like made me make it work, right? So we've had those two clients from 2019 of September to February of 2020. The pandemic hits in March of 2020. And I always say, like, when you first start a business, you're in this place of like, it's hard and it's a struggle, but it's kind of like there's only up from here. You know what I mean? Versus once you hit those higher cash months, if you have a lower one, you're like, shit, like you just kind of have like a lot more to lose, if that makes sense. So I really, the, if you are newer in business and you're feeling like a little bit, I don't know, not naive. I mean, yeah, I felt kind of naive, not at the time, hindsight's 2020, but I was totally naive, right? But if I wasn't naive, I probably wouldn't have done it. So it actually served me. Being naive can actually be a superpower, especially when you're first starting. So just a little side note there. So March 2020 comes around, the pandemic hits. Austin at the time, my fiance now, he was actually in his physical therapy clinicals, and his parents live in Florida half the year. So he was in Jersey, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll go, hang out with him for a bit. And the pandemic, like the shutdown happened while I was there. And I don't remember. I can't remember if his clinic closed or not. I feel like it had to have, right? For originally for like a few weeks. Yeah, it did. So we were just like having a grand old time. Tie-dyeing shirts and we made the best of the time. Okay. So during this time there was I still had my first business coach and she was really helping me just to kind of really increase my inquiries. And I want to like the first thing that I want to say is that not the first thing. I've been talking for fucking 20 minutes at this point. So when I hit that May 2020 was the first month that I hit my first $5,000 month. Okay. Now that's kind of like the start of my like full-time career, if you will, because between March and April, I was like really still getting things set up. So between May of 2020 and May of 2021, I hit six figures, which I was really, really proud of. So like my first full-time year in business, I hit six figures. Now, uh, what led to that 5K month? How was I able to do that? And it's funny now because like I can evaluate like 5K month, 10K month, cash, sales, revenue, like all the differences, right? But at the time, I remember my coach being like, "Oh my gosh, you're at like multiple four-figure months and like in months in advance." And I'm like, "What?" Like literally like just giving myself no credit. And I'm like, "Okay, that's great, I guess." Right. And the number one thing that got me there, and you guys are gonna hate this because it's like I hate it too, 'cause it's annoying, but it's true. Staying consistent. Staying consistent throughout, what is that? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 9 months until I hit that first $5,000 month. I posted, I can't remember the logistics. You guys can go scroll back on my Low and Lemons nutrition page and see how often I was posting at the time. I want to say I was posting every single day. I was on stories every single day. I was doing the damn thing. I was reaching out to therapists. I was connecting with other healthcare providers. I was trying to get referrals. However, none of that was entirely successful, to be honest. And now I look back on it and I'm like, that was probably for a reason because now I'm able to say that I built my entire business primarily through Instagram and now I get to teach it through to you guys. Um, but about 9 months, and it's funny because they say, the work that you're doing now will show up in 6 to 9 months. And I'm like, yeah, for me, it was 9 months on the button. Okay. Now from there, I started. So obviously the first tip is consistency. And I'm going to be breaking this down so much more in depth and so much deeper on the 3X Your Inquiries Masterclass. So definitely join us over there. But from, I would say, then I was at a stable, it was actually kind of weird how stable it was. I would get about two new clients per month. And at the time, I was charging $699 a month. Like I wasn't charging chump change. And I really respect and credit my original mentor with this because she really helped me to just say, like, you can charge this and let's increase your prices. And once I sold a few, I was like, okay, I can charge this. This is great. Right. So I was at $699 a month. Does that mean that you need to charge that much? No. But can you? You absolutely can. So those two new clients that I was getting on a consistent basis every month or so, every month, that was bringing in $1,400 a month of stacking recurring revenue. Now that's something else is stacking income. Okay. We can talk about lead generation all day long and how to get consistent leads. But at the end of the day, it's about learning how to stack the income, right? So kind of like the first layer is how do I get clients? How do I like create that foundation? I need to like get consistent clients, but then you need to learn how to stack your income on top of that. Meaning, are there other offers we're creating? Are there ways to continue working with you? Are people re-signing, right? Like other elements of business. So if you're really in that phase where you're trying to just get consistent leads and you'd like those to be through Instagram, you'd like those to be through your content, 3X Your Inquiries is going to be so perfect for you. And honestly, the best next step from there is Content Catalyst because it's my entire process of how I literally went from zero to that initial $5,000 month in May of 2020. And then I was at a 100K run rate by that fall. So that September, maybe November of 2020, I was hitting months 100K run rate is $8,333 because if you do 833 times 12, it equals 100K. So I was hitting at least 8K months at that point, and then I introduced a group program, and I was hitting five-figure months at that point, and that's how I was able to hit that 100K in that first full-time year of business. So, as you can see, the consistency in business and increasing your monthly income, it's a lot. It requires lots of different strategies. I can't nail it down to one, but I'm going to do my absolute best in the 3X Your Inquiries Masterclass. And it's going to be so much fun. So, the link for the class will be in the show notes of this episode. And I cannot wait to see you guys there. Um, Again, if you are, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but if you are listening to this before March 19th, the class will be $37. So be sure to check out before then, before the price increases, and it's going to be so worth your $37. So I cannot wait to see you guys there, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.